Hello, everybody. The energy is up. It's Friday when I'm recording. You might be listening to this at any time of the week. If you're feeling dull and dismal and it's raining outside or it's just not been a good day, just put that to side for 1 minute because we're going to be talking to the wonderfully chirpy and lovely Sydney Jo Jackson any minute now. After this,
keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
Sydney.
Hi. Hello.
Oh, Sydney, loving the hair.
Thank you. It's a little bit, I put a mask on it last night and I haven't washed it out, so it's a little bit short.
Oh, it's great. It's great. And a Blondie t-shirt, fantastic. There was a icon if ever there was one.
Right?
Yeah. Inspiration to you?
Of course. Look, I'm in the music industry. How could she not be?
Yeah.
No,
but absolutely. Favorite Blondie song?
Heart of Glass.
Yeah.
First one, but I do love it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and try and pick a one that's a bit more obscure. I love Heart of Glass.
I think Parallel Lines as an album, that is pretty unprecedented in terms of for its time. It was just that was really kind of groundbreaking at the time. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
How are you?
I'm good. Well, it's Friday, isn't it? So everything's cool, and it's been a good week. I've been to a concert this week as well, which always helps, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? When you've been to see some live music in the middle of the week, that really helps.
That does. I love live music, so I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Well, we went to see Alanis Morissette middle of the week. Do
you know what? I was just busking in Malaysia and I did one of her songs.
Really? Which song?
It's like rain days. What's the one that's like rain?
Isn't it ironic? Isn't it ironic? Yeah.
Yeah. She's incredible.
Yeah. Well, again, was she someone that, like, when that album came out, Jagged Little Pill came out, I think for so many female singer-songwriters, etc., it's such an important album because it allowed women to go, oh God, I can literally say that about men. And
yeah, I mean, I don't think it was just about say that about men. It was just say about how you feel. I think a lot of women were positioned in a way that they were just to be seen and to be objectified. They weren't there with an opinion. So I think she, some of the lyrics that she has in her music, they say probably what a lot of us are already feeling. So for me, I'm hugely inspired by Richard Random, the Spice Girls, right? Considering I sing soul music, the Spice Girls and Britney Spears are huge influential people on my music. But I think that's due to the fact that, like you said, they're pioneers with the fact that they came with different, the way that they dress, the way that they look, the messages of girl power is obviously something Alanis Morissette also embodies completely.
Yeah, I do think like the music industry at the time must have been really struggling with some of it because so many men in the music industry at the time as well, and like a lot of them were part of the problem. Let's face it, and I think it must have been difficult having a mirror held up to your face.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, it's definitely groundbreaking. I do take a lot of inspiration from older genre artists. I think now, not to sound like an old woman, but I do think now the artists that we're looking at, especially the Gen Z artists, are being positioned in a way that aren't to be legacy artists, and they're not really being given a platform where they're able to express their inner feelings. They're kept quite boxed and quite safe, or they're just gimmicky. That just, for me, which is quite concerning in the music industry, to be honest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, a lot of people would agree with you on that there's a lot of people that are just being manufactured into, you know, being what they need to be, etc. For your point of view, when you write, how important is it that you know, get it off your chest, as it were?
I think, for me, when I do my writing, I find that it's always just comes from, I just write because of what I feel. So I don't have a lot of swearing and stuff, which I'm trying to stop doing, because I realise that also can be restrictive on where the music is placed. However, I feel like when I write in a way that I want people to be able to engage with it and to understand it and empathise. So if I'm scared to write what I'm feeling, you wouldn't if you're upset, you're going to be like, look, I'm upset. You're not going to come to me and be like, I'm a little bit not happy today.
Oh,
you're gonna,
just
yeah,
not feeling. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather.
yeah. If I punch you in your face, you're going to be like, oh, that really hurt. No, you're not. You're going to be like, hey, I'm going to like smash your brains in, which is not the best thing to be saying. But I'm saying with regards to where it is, it's like, it's a reaction, it's a feeling, it's something that I'm not going to ever vet when I'm writing. It's what I'm literally like purging the feeling that I'm having.
Yeah. You got a big voice, though. You got a big soul voice. Where did that come from?
I don't know, because I was always told that I can't sing.
Really? Who said that?
Loads of people.
Should we get them? Should we get them?
Let's get them. We'll get them in a headlock. No, I mean, I went to a stage school, and I think that I didn't sound like the musical theatre people there. So and they're all beautiful, got great voices, but I didn't have that sound. So I was always told that I sound weird. And I used to do a couple of karaoke, and I remember once I did a karaoke in Wales, and someone was like, why is that cat screaming on the microphone? And it was just me, like, so it took me many years actually to get my voice out, because I did a lot of music that I was hiding my voice. So I can obviously, and my voice has got a certain tone to it, I think, and I tried to really hide that and sing in a placement where it sounded quite generic and safe.
My kids are doing some musical theatre at the moment.
Okay.
All right. So they're doing the Sound of Music in Chard. If anyone wants to come see it, please do. And they are always brilliant performances or whatever. But I have to say, right, that I'm a little bit with you in that. Do you know what? Sometimes when you see people who are like real musical theatre and whatever, the bit that I can't get over is like the constant smile.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like all the time when they're singing, it's like, oh yes, I'm really happy. It's like,
yeah.
It's like that. That's just not real. And that's for me. I mean, that's kind of part of the genre and everything else, and I totally get it and whatever. But I really want to see like a singer inhabit the song completely. Yeah. And for me, I want to see them sort of like kind of almost disappear into themselves and inhabit the song, and and it's not like a sheen on the outside. Do you know what I'm saying?
I feel like they do that a lot in Broadway. They do that a lot still with the Tina Turner musical. I think when we look at like what we said, big classics, like you're saying that the Hills have alive. The Hills are alive. Like they're all like, the Hills are alive. It's all like, it's very it's theatrical, which it should be, which is beautiful. And I think there's definitely a lane for that. And I think there's a group of people that's targeted at. But I came in a place where I thought a stage school was going to be somewhere I could go to potentially be a pop star, be a little bit different. And they really wanted to erode all that away from me and make sure that I was singing in a high register and everything was smiley. And we're going to do pop songs with these hand movements. And it became kind of like, for me, confusing, where I'd come from Birmingham. I grew up mainly around soul music, R&B music. A lot of my friends were like girls that would just sit on the street and sing, and it wasn't really put in a placement that you'd be like melodically happy, like you said. It was just different vibes. So I came in and I was a little bit not what they were looking for, and I didn't really gel with them. So it was kind of a strange place for me to be in. Then so they're like, you can't sing, and I'm like, but I can sing. I'm Going Down by Mary J. Blige. And they're like, who? What is this? And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, sing us Les Mis, sing us something from Les. I'm like, who is that? What is that? Like, so it was kind of like a conflict.
Yeah. Well, now listen, for someone that apparently can't sing, you've managed to get to work with some amazing people, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I mean, I've worked really realistically recently. My God,
Recently?
what's going on? I worked with Guz. Guz is a massive dance artist, also, and I also did a song called Automatic as well, which was really, really good, with a couple of guys called Redondo. I'm recently, even now, I'm not doing dance music, but I'm getting a cut with one of Armin van Buuren's in-house producers. He's massive, like he's super, super big. So we've got a song coming out with him, but again, that's more in the dance genre. I did some stuff with Jules Holland. I was in like the backing choir, which was really cool, for a group of gospel singers that he was working with. So I met him, and he's like a childhood icon of mine. Yeah, I mean,
Same for me. I mean, he's one of the reasons why I do this, you know, because for me, he comes at it from a position of authority, right? Because the guy's a a legend musically as well. And he's one of the people that I felt like when he interviews musicians, it's fun, but at the same time, he's got the knowledge and he brings that experience to the table. And I got fed up of listening to a lot of music interviews where like it was the same questions every single time. And there were lots of pointless questions in there, like "What's your favorite biscuit?" and whatever, which have got nothing to do with the music or whatever. So for me, Jules Holland, was a shining example of just how to be yourself, interview musicians on a sort of peer-to-peer basis, and it's a conversation, not an interview, and that's different.
And he's very real with it, he doesn't give you, because he's a musician, so he speaks to you, like you said, it's on a level, it's like peer to peer. So the way I think he is, his artistry is incredible. I mean, I watched him play piano, and I just was blown away with the love and the passion. And this is someone that's been doing it for multiple years. He didn't get on there like, oh God, another job. He felt it, and he wanted everybody to feel it. And it was just, you were just drawn to him, because when somebody exudes that, you can't help but like be like, coming into that, like I was like, oh wow, I need to be around him, I need to be in this energy. So
he's fascinated. He's still fascinated, isn't he? I mean, I think that's an interesting thing that I think musicians who are real musicians really gravitate to as well, is that kind of fascination with music. He'll kind of like look over someone that's playing a piano or whatever, and they'll go, oh, why are you doing that? There's that fascination still. It's not like, oh, I know all of that. It's just like, no, I can still learn. I can still learn from other people. I can still learn from everybody that's in the room and around me. I think that's the thing that comes out. Yeah. Is that the same for you? Are you constantly like, show me something new?
I am always, especially now that I'm in Bali as well, so I'm around a lot of live musicians. It's different because I've lived in America, I've lived in the UK, so I spent a lot of time with different styles of musicians, and I think being out here, there's definitely a different kind of flair and feel and energy that they bring to when they play. I was really lucky when I was in my dance days that I was surrounded by really experienced, people. I'd never been in the industry before, I'd never written a song, and I was lucky to be in a room with one of the writers that did M&EK's bum bum ba bum bum ba. What's it called? Bum, bum, bum.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh right, yeah.
I remember I was in a room with him, and he produced that, and we were in the room with a couple of other very established, huge writers that have worked on big records now. And I was just this girl that was like, I want to kind of be in the music industry. And I remember I wouldn't sing, I wouldn't do anything, and we were in this session. He's like, you need to contribute, and I'm just sitting there like, this is cool. And I've got ideas in my head, but I don't want to sing, and I don't want to put them out in case I'm laughed at. And we all had a microphone, and I'm sweating beads because the microphone has to come around to each of you, and you kind of throw out your ideas. And there's these people that have written songs that have won Grammys that are in the room, right? And I'm just this girl, and it comes to me, and I'm sweating, and I'm like, and I'm singing this song, and he's like, what are you doing? And he said to me, Sydney, look, if you're going to be here, you have to sing. You have to sing, you have to put your ideas out, and if it's wrong, it's wrong, and if it's right, we'll take it. But you can't keep hiding. And I watched everybody around, and I was like, okay, you know what, let's just do it. And I was like, this is my idea. And we wrote like a really cool song at that point, but I was so like in my head and scared, because I was just like, these people are massive. But I learned, and I was terrified, because he was like, you either do it or you get out, like it's now or never. you know, do it and perform, or there's a door, because we're real people. We get paid to do this, and we're not going to like play around, you know. Like, and I'm sitting there like, oh, maybe I can just like sing into a voice note, you know. And he's like, no, sing on the microphone. And for me, when I'm around musicians, you know, I went to a live music night the other day. I watched this woman sing "I'd Rather Go Blind," and I've seen that song sang so many times. So many people sing this. She had me from the second she opened her mouth. And I mean, she barely moved. She just stood, and it was the way that she held the crowd. It was just effortless the way she did it. And she held you there, and it was something. It wasn't even about necessarily the strength in the voice, but it was the way her persona, the way, I think when you do music, you need to really give that message of what the song is trying to convey. It's not about the lyrical acrobatics. It's more about, I need to feel you, and I need to think that you're singing to me and about my life. And when people do that, I think that's where I try and go, wow, like, it's not for me. When I write, I don't think about the vocal acrobatics. I think like, will you listen to that and think she's singing that about me?
Yeah. Can you tell the story? You know, can you make this resonate with someone so deeply that they have to stop everything else that they're doing and put it down?
Yeah.
You know, and that's a really important thing to try and do in a day and age where everybody's so busy and everybody is, you know, the attention span is so little because we're so bombarded with information. You know, it's such a special thing and so needed to get artists who can just stop us and just bring us to a moment, you know, because we need those. Honestly, we need those moments more than ever now. We really do.
And I feel like, you know, I'm not saying there's not a lot of artists that are there now, because there's, you know, I'm learning about some of these artists that are coming from the UK that are really underground, and they're on the rise. But I feel like, you know, even though they've got a few artists that are big, I feel like they're kind of put into a position that they are doing things, saying things that are a little bit left to center, or they're a little bit taboo because they're being told by a record label, say this, behave like this, do this, and they're emulating other artists. They're not coming from a place of authenticity. When you had somebody, let's take for example one of the greatest, Amy Winehouse, who came and said it as it was, as it is. You got what you see is what you get. You could not media train that woman if you tried. And you know, that was something that everybody went, she's going to say it how it is. And if you what you get with that performance is what you get. And when you listen to her, especially when I listen to her, even if it's not her best performance visually, when she was singing, I was there with her when she was on the floor crying. I was there when she was doing, and I wasn't, you know, but I, in my head, I'm like that. Yeah, I'm, and that's what for me is a legacy artist. That for me is what, like you see the Blondies, like you see the Annie Lennox, you see the Phil Collins, you see the Queen, Bowie, Prince. I could go on forever, you know, and that's what I feel like. There's an integrity in music that's missing for me with this up and coming generation that I wish we could funnel back somewhere and really give. It's not about the streams, it's not about going viral. It's about, can you tell me your story and can you relate to me more so than I want to see you do a dance on TikTok.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, when you were telling that story about being in that room and being handed the mic and kind of, you know, freezing in your own head and then realizing that you just need to let go, and it is all about bringing it back to a moment. It was reminding me of I did one of these with a guy called Troy Miller. Now Troy Miller and I were in a band together when we were young, like 14. He was 10, I was 14, so we're going long way back, right? Troy Miller ended up, he was Amy Winehouse's drummer.
Oh wow.
And he's you know, he's a world-class songwriter, orchestrator, you know, drummer, etc. And we were talking about he more recently been on tour with Natasha Bedingfield, etc., playing drums and I asked him, I said, what do you think about in those kind of moments when you're, you know, in a front of a big crowd like that playing drums, or you know, you step into a group of musicians for the first time? He said, I still think about, like, I'm still looking for that moment that we had years ago, right?
Oh.
I'm still looking for that connection, and I'm still thinking about back then and all the journey and where I've come from and how that feels.
It's
And
super.
I just think great musicians are very humble in that. I think great musicians are very humble in like the journey and the experience and the, looking for that authenticity, looking for that moment of real connection in everything.
I mean, I find that, like, I think part of the reason with what you're saying, I resonate with that because when we go on stage, it's an expression, right? So, people have therapy and they go to therapy and they just let it all out. This is a song that's been like curated from pain or whatever it's come from, or a place of happiness, whatever, a situation, a feeling. And we want to express that with the world. So just like, and it might be a troubled place that we feel embarrassed about, but if you put a guitar and you put some drums behind it, I'm gonna tell you my whole life story. So it comes to a place that's our safe place and that's our place of expression. And I think that that's why if it's put with false entities around it, or it's put with boundaries, you don't react the same. So when you're saying and we're putting that together, it was an organic moment. It was something that's going to be a cherished memory forever, because it might be different when they're on stage now performing in a place where there's expectations on you and there's a band that are regimented to do this, and you haven't got the freedom to mess around or to go, oh my god, let's go again. You've got to be like, oh my god, people are paying for this, like they're expecting so I totally can understand where that person's coming from and how he felt like that and how you feel like that as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. By the way, the dog's just agreeing with you.
You have a dog?
Yeah, I don't know whether you heard him or not, but he just gave a little, in the middle of what you were saying there, he did a little woof, which for him is basically go Sydney. That's what he's saying.
Woo-hoo! Wow, I have a dog here too, and she was pulled the light out a minute ago, and I just tried to I was like, don't move.
we love the chaos of online interviews and whatever. It's good. The one thing I'm really envious of Jules Holland is, like, when he does these interviews with his later and whatever, and he's got that wonderful room and he's got a sound crew and TV set and whatever. It's just that must be lovely to have all of that.
We've got the dogs. Right, we've got the dogs here.
Yeah, Jules, you're missing dogs. Come on, man, get with the program.
Exactly.
Sydney, tell us about what music you've got out at the moment, so people can support.
Yeah, support. So I've got a song out called "You Should Be Here," which is like an old school kind of ballad, a bit. It's old, sounds like an old record. I've got another song called "Stone Cold" out. That's my second single. And you know what I did as well? I was watching these podcasts. And I was just listening to people that were saying I put music out and just see what happens. So I put this song out called "Flowers" that I did maybe, I don't know, 4 years ago. It's acoustic. And I've just thrown it on the internet, not because I want it to be necessarily a big song, but I'm trying to this thing where I'm not like in my head about the songs that I put out, because I've written over 1 million songs probably. And as I'm coming into a different genre, I think it's really important to not fixate on, like I said, the streams and the numbers. I wrote this song, I did it, it's a cool song, it's a very acoustic, it's chill. It's different to Stone Cold, it's different to You Should Be Here, but I'm just putting my music out. I'm just going to keep doing that because I don't know what's going to be good. I might think this is the best record. And then I learned this from Russ. I was watching Russ's podcast and he was like, I just put a song a week out, the people decided. And I've been sat here too long going, I'm not going to put this out, it's not right. And then 4 years later, I've got this tune that I'm like, that would have been really good 4 years ago. So I'm just putting songs out. It's what's happening. I'm doing it.
That's the way. Put it out. Do you know what I mean? There's a work ethic there as well, right? There's a work ethic there. Do you know? One of the things that annoys me because I make a lot of content, right? A lot of content, and I get other like content makers, and they go, it's all, you've got to be completely strategic, and look, when it comes to things like marketing and sales and all of that, I totally get strategy, completely, 100%. I'm there with it. But for me, when it comes to content creation as part of all of that, I have to go with the flow. I have to go with me, right? I have to post when I need to post. I have to, I mean, someone said to me the other day, they said, on LinkedIn, I've done a poll post in the morning, every morning for 5 years, 8 months now. Never missed a day, right? Never,
Wow.
never ever miss a day. Do it every single morning, right? They went, "You're crazy." I said, "But it's not about the audience. It's about me."
Mm.
Right? I do it for me. It's my. I get up in the morning. I see something. I have something to say. I need to say it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is part of my identity. I just feel like there's something that I have to get off my chest and into the world. I'm going to do it. And do you know what? It becomes a muscle as well. You know, it
Mm.
really becomes a thing that if I didn't do it, I'd feel like there's something missing. So I
It's
just
it's a good discipline. It shows that you've got, you know, I think that's great. And I think, and well done for 5 years and 8 months, did you say?
yeah.
Woo. I mean, that's fantastic. I can't even commit to getting out of the bed at 8 o'clock for 3 days in the morning. Like,
Well, I think people need to commit more. I mean, I've often referenced on this show that old interview with Duffy and Paul Weller, where Paul Weller, she asked him, you know, what's the best advice you can give me, and he just went, keep writing, keep writing, keep writing, keep putting stuff out, keep putting, you know. And basically, he was saying, look, and he's been prolific, hasn't he, over the years? Paul Weller, from the Jam through Style Council, through his own personal, yeah, you know, he's just written. And he openly admit, you know, some of it's good, some of it's not so good, or whatever. But the point is that you learn through just writing, and you learn through being honest to yourself and putting stuff out there. He probably is
you
at
always
the point.
make it better. Not if it's not living and it's not there, right? It's just living in your head. You're never going to be able to grow from anything. If you're just like, oh, it's same with me, my songs. If I'm like, okay, I can't put it out yet, it's not right. Might get 2 streams, but you know, I might learn from that. I might be like, all right, well, you know, acoustic things are not your vibe, or it might be that song actually sucked, so write something better.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but if I don't put it out, I don't know. so I need to put it out. I might think I really thought that my You Should Be Here tune, I was like, that's going to be, you know, huge. It's going to fly. I mean, it's doing good. It's doing well. That it's got me into a position where I'm now able to cross over into another lane and have interviews with people like yourself. But the actual Stone Cold song that I brought out second, I was like, this is going to suck. No one's going to listen to this. And it's actually performing well, not necessarily more on streams, but as in the followers that I've got off it, of the engagement that I've got off it, it's done better than the first song. And I would never have said, I would have been like, that's going to do worse than this one, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Artists, you just have to just go, you can't hold on to all your songs like it's all really precious. You got like, what it is, throw it out.
I'm going to leave you with this, Sydney. One of the things that really excites me the most is when I put out an interview and all of a sudden I see like a sudden splurge of revisits to an interview that I did like a year or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you know, been just sat there and it's just ticked along or whatever. And then suddenly something happens and a group of people find it and then just it goes and takes it. And I just feel like that's a perfect example to give back to you, which is that if it's out there, it can be found. If it's not, it can't, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, keep doing it. Keep putting it out there. Cause you know, it could be anything. It could just suddenly be like the one person who is influential, sees it, goes, oh my word, this is my tune. This is my jam. I love this. They start putting it out there and then it goes.
Yeah.
Just have to, you know, you will never do that. You know, again, people say to me, oh, but I couldn't start a podcast, or I couldn't do that, or whatever. It's like, do you know, the hardest thing anyone can ever do in anything is start. You had that in that room. The hardest thing was starting. Once you start,
you
just can't stop.
Exactly.
You know, it's addictive. Sydney, you've been marvelous. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having this big old chat with me.
Bringing your hair and your care and your.
I brought my dog. Yeah.
And your lovely chair as well. Look at that chair. That's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Still got, you know, if I showed you the side of it, hold on, let's make this funny. That's the floor. Suitcase that was on.
Sydney came into a room. Everything was organised on the chair. She just went. Literally flung it on the floor and off we go.
Yeah.
Folks, now you've heard from Sydney, the thing to do is go and check out the music. Please do go and find some of Sydney's songs. If you see her on the old Instagram, say hello. If a song of hers really touches you, let her know that as well. That's a marvelous thing. Add it to a playlist as well. Don't just listen to it.
Oh, that'd be good.
Add it to a playlist, because that's where it makes all of the difference. And share those playlists with your friends. And then what you do is you start like this kind of roller coaster thing going, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Sydney, thanks for coming in today. We will be back soon with more My Music. If you've enjoyed this, please do go and share with your friends and family. Do go and check out the history behind all of this and why it started in the first place at mymusicpodcast.com, where you can also join the community if you like. That would be a marvelous, beautiful thing. We will be back soon. Take care from us. Goodbye.
Bye.